So you were an Olympic gymnast?
Silver medal?
Ooh, sorry. Gold's the only thing that really counts.
So I watched How I Met Your Mother in 2023. Well, I actually started it last year, but it took me until now to finish it. I've never seen it before this, but after years of seeing hilarious clips all over the internet, I decided it was time I finally watched it. This isn't necessarily going to be a spoiler-free video, so if you don't want anything spoiled, this isn't the video for you. If you're like I was 6 months ago and don't know anything about the show, How I Met Your Mother is about Ted Mosby as he stumbles through life with his group of friends on the journey to find his one true love. Ted is a really complex character from the start, but he also develops into a character that's emotionally deep. Pretty much immediately we're shown how complicated his idea of love is, and for some people, that dream just never happens. The whole story behind Ted is that he's not someone that's going to give up, and he's going to make sure that it happens for him no matter the cost. This is what makes Ted such an amazing character. He's the reason we come back after the first episodes and we all stay emotionally invested in what happens to him. A character like this is hard to come by in sitcoms. One of the few other examples is Michael Scott in The Office, and when your show is based on a character that fans can connect with on a deep emotional level, it would take a lot of missteps to mess it up. But How I Met Your Mother didn't make those mistakes. They used Ted to drive the story while introducing a lovable friend group that would help guide him to where he needed to be. This friend group was much more than a supporting cast and would be used to drive seasons to come. The unique relationships of each person in the group creates a dynamic that diminishes the idea of a main character. Before long, Ted doesn't seem like the sole main character anymore, and each friend in the group becomes a main character in their own right. Everyone was used for different purposes, but as the characters grew, their uses did too. Barney starts as a ridiculous caricature of a person. He uses insane schemes to sleep with as many women as possible and has little else he cares about. As the seasons go on, he begins to realize that relationships are much more important to him than he once thought they were. He starts to care about if him and his friends are hanging out enough, and more importantly, he starts to consider settling down. This turns out to be a long, winding road for him, but it shows the growth that is necessary to make him more than a background character. Lily and Marshall are the picture-perfect couple that Ted and undoubtedly many others in real life use as their guide for what they want in a relationship. While there are always bumps in the road for them, they enjoy the luxury of consistency, which Ted strives for. Through all of the changes in their lives, from Marshall's many different jobs at law firms to Lily's career diverging into the world of art like she always dreamed, they always had each other. They were turned into the baseline for the series, the symbol that shows why all of these other characters are working so hard to find the one. Robin is Ted's first love interest in the show, and from the very first episode, Ted is committed to trying to make it work with her. But on the other hand, Robin spends the majority of the show focused on her career. She's used like a carrot on the end of a stick for Ted while having limited personal growth. That's not to say she doesn't have personal growth in some episodes, just not enough to end up far from where she started. Her most important storyline in the show was her relationship with Barney, and it gave both her and Barney the growth they needed to emerge fully developed characters. While the story is primarily focused on the love life of Ted Mosby, the creators never let you forget that it's a classic sitcom, and that's a good thing. There are heavy moments in many of the episodes, but the comedy only eases up when it's absolutely necessary. How I Met Your Mother is genuinely hilarious, and the comedy is used incredibly well. Like I said, Barney has insane schemes with extensive planning, and there are some of the funniest scenes I've ever watched in a sitcom. This is far from the only type of joke that was done properly, and the everyday banter between the group is just as comedic and hardly ever felt forced. Ted spends the entirety of the show searching for the love of his life, and he does end up meeting her, but as many might expect based on the title of the show, it's not until the very end, and because of this, it felt utterly perfect when they met. The entire show built up to that moment, and there was never a second where I thought it wasn't worth the wait. How I Met Your Mother meant a lot to me, and is by far one of my favorite shows I've ever watched. There aren't many shows I've looked forward to watching as much as I have with this one. I watched the whole show with my fiance, and for the last 3 months, it's given us something to look forward to every single night. We watch most shows together, but this one has given us an indescribable experience that few shows have been able to match, and that's something I'll always be grateful for. I absolutely loved this show and will forever recommend it to people, so if you've made it this far and somehow haven't seen the show, go watch it. You won't regret it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date with my videos. I'll see you next time.